My people are destroyed for lack of the knowledge. Because you have rejected the knowledge, I will also reject you, that you shall be no priest to me, seeing you have forgotten the Torah of your Elohim. I will also forget your children. Husha, Hosea 4:6.
So for as long as I can remember, the Roman Catholic Church and the Christian Church will tell you that you are a Gentile. But this is a misconception in understanding of Scripture, because the Gentile is not a thing, it's a people. And they know who they are.
The sons of Japheth, Jimmer, and Magog, and Madai, and Yavin, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Thirek. And the sons of Jimmer, Ashkenaz, and Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Yavin, Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanium. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, and nations. BERE'SHYTH, Genesis 10:2-5 Cepher. Japheth. Gomer son of Japheth, had first settled in Camera, now Italy, in the 10th year of Nimrod following the dispersion of peoples. Magog it is often associated with Assyrian Magugu, land of Gyges, i.e., Lydia, and Russia. Madai Medes and related Iranian nations. Javan, Book of Genesis, chapter 10, in the Hebrew Bible. Josephus states the traditional belief that this individual was the ancestor of the Greeks. Tubal to be the founder of Ravenna in Italy, Setúbal in Portugal, and Toledo and many other places in Spain. Cape St. Vincent in Portugal. Meshech Illyrians were identified as Meshech's offspring. In addition, Georgians have traditions that they, and other Caucasus people such as Armenians, share descent from Meshech, Georgian, Meskheti, Tubal, and Togarmah. Raphael Holinshed, 1577, identified Samoths as Meshech, and asserted that he first ruled also in Britain. Tiras for the descendants of Thiras, as Josephus observes, the Greeks call Thracians, and in Thrace was a river called Athyras. Ashkenaz Scythian region, then later with the Slavic territories, Europe and Germany. Rhineland and the Palatinate in what is now the westernmost part of Germany. Northern France. Riphath Paphlagonians. Hippolytus of Rome, Sarmatians Riphaean mountains while en route to northern Europe. Togarmah Hittites and Tilgarimu by the Assyrians, Tegarama in southeast Anatolia. Western Asia and the Caucasus. Phrygians, Armenians, Turkic, including the Khazars, as well as non-Turkic. Elisha Peloponnese Portaliger. Tarshish Carthage, Tartessos in ancient Hispania, the Iberian Peninsula, near Huelva and Sevilla today. Tarsus in Cilicia, south-central Turkey. Kittim Romans, Macedonians, or Seleucid Greeks. Dodonim Hittite and Greek. This is why Caucasian goes across so many groups. They are all connected. Gentiles are the Caucasian. Who are considered Caucasian? The term Caucasian is used to describe people who are white or have origins in Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. Sometimes people of Arab, North Indian, and Latin American descent are also considered Caucasian. The term Caucasian originated from the Caucasus Mountains, which run from the Black Sea to the Caspian Sea. This area includes Armenia, Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Russia. The racial scientists who created the term Caucasian considered people of Arab, North Indian, and Latin American descent to be mixed race between Caucasians and other races. This created a racial hierarchy with Western Europeans at the top. The U.S. government usually counts people of Middle Eastern and North African descent as white, even though most do not identify that way. It is the same people who was listed as Gentiles.
Those disturbing images are from the evening of February 20th, 1939. The place? Not Nazi Germany. It was right here, literally. You're looking at New York's Madison Square Garden. On that cold winter night, the garden hosted a rally of over 20,000 people who celebrated both being a Nazi and an American. On that very same day, Adolf Hitler was finishing construction of his 6th concentration camp. The dichotomy of the two events is chilling. It's So think about that. This Nazi rally went largely forgotten by history. But again, as a reminder, it took place just before Germany began its siege of Europe. So let us take you back to 1939 to Madison Square Garden and show you the events of that fateful night. Take a look.
We, with American ideals, demand that our government shall be returned to the American people who founded it. If you ask what we are actively fighting for under our charter, first, a social just white Gentile ruled United States. Second, Gentile-controlled labor union, free from Jewish Moscow-directed domination. First, a social just white Gentile ruled United States.
What would make someone a legitimate Israelite or Jew?
Right, these are two different terminologies that are used today. So let's say we'll discuss places around the world where we'll have 25 to 50 million people who claim to be from the tribes of Israel. Someone asks me, well, are they Jewish? And I say no, because the term Jew actually comes from Judean, the Judean kingdom, the descendants of the Judean kingdom, who, from Ezra and Nehemiah, coded the law. They wrote down, the 2,000 years ago, they wrote down the law, the Mishnah. So anyone who's one with 613 commandments, that is how you become a Jew. To be one with 613 commandments and the oral interpretations that has been passed down. Now, someone who is from the house of Israel who got lost amongst the nations, the term would be Zera Yisrael, or the seed of Israel, someone from the seed of Israel. And
evidence is this, where you can see the hard copy of the book being spoke of in the video. Now, that doesn't mean that I endorse everything in those videos and other people's thoughts. I'm just showing you that this book does exist, nevertheless. In Time Life magazine, it was labeled, I believe the book was labeled The Nazis from every time that I've ever seen it. I've only seen the book a couple times in my life so far, and I want to get a copy of it because it's so powerful. Nevertheless, Hitler shows to his generals who the true Hebrews are and who the posers are. And he describes to his generals that the white-faced kind of, people always say that I kind of look Jewish. That's actually a fair statement because my background is Germanic, Russian. I have, that is my ancestry. Well, we'll find out later in this video as I describe to you that the Ashkenazi Jews are from that region in the world. I am not a Jew. I am not an Israelite. I am a Gentile that has accepted Messiah into my heart, Yahushua, to keep his commands, do his Torah and his Father's commands, and trust in him so that I may have eternal salvation. Now, Hitler explained the white person that was posing to be an Israelite as the bastard. And please forgive me, I mean not to be profane. I am describing exactly what was shown in the film. It also showed a African man of nature and facial feature, hair texture, as the true Hebrew. And it broke this down and digressed very deep. It went extremely deep. It was profound to me how much emphasis he put on explaining to his generals who the true Hebrew were. It was shocking. And I encourage you to look into that.
So traditions going back further than that. It's talking about the Jewish people in terms of their color. How are we described?
Right, so Rabbi Yehuda Nasi wrote the Mishnah. He was a direct descendant from the house of King David, and he was in charge of the passing on the law of the generation. Now, to have written down the oral law was forbidden for the Israelites. It was oral, meant to be taught father to son. He saw that we are already scattered around the whole world, and if we don't preserve this, we're going to lose it. So he chose to write it down, and it was called the Mishnah. In the Mishnah, he was speaking about the skin afflictions that happened to people in the times of the temple, and when he's speaking about the color of the skin, he references and says that the children of Israel were not white, and they were not black. They were boxwood. That's the word it was used. Perhaps like the color of the table we're sitting at. And
the Egyptians. And years later, when the famine came, his brothers didn't recognize Joseph the Hebrew. He was mistaken as a natural-born Egyptian, Mizraim of the seed of Ham, a black man.
In the day of judgment, all lies will be out the window and truth will abound.